African health, care for every life. Hope in every heart, light in every home. We protect, we heal, we grow together. African health on Ifrikya FM.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen of Ifrikya FM. It's your host, Divya Nanakwamena, and we are back here on our Freak Health. And for the last few episodes, we had been talking about fasting. Well, the season is ended, and we want to move on, essentially. And today, what are we moving on to? We are moving on to, well, I want you to guess. Have you had time to guess? Polio. We're talking about poliomyelitis, commonly known as polio, which is a virus which is a viral disease that affects the nervous system and can lead to paralysis. Polio is caused by what we call poliovirus, which spreads through the fecal oral route, that is through contaminated water, food, and poor sanitation, and it can spread through close contact with an infected person. Once the virus enters the body, it multiplies, and in most people there are no symptoms. It causes no symptoms. In fact, majority of individuals who become infected may never know that they have it. However, in some cases, the virus travels through this, enters the bloodstream, travels through the central nervous system, where it can attack the motor neurons of the spinal cord, and there damages the nerve cells. Your muscles lose signals that they need to function, and this causes what we call acute flaccid paralysis, where your muscles suddenly become weak or completely unable to move. Unlike many neurological conditions, we say that polio is asymmetric, meaning that it affects one limb more than the other. So you'd have a general weakness, but you find that one side is more weaker than the other. But the symptoms, they do vary from one person to another, but we will go through a bit. We already talked about flaccid paralysis. You have your general symptoms like fever, headache, fatigue, sore throat, nausea, vomiting. But in the serious cases, like I said earlier on, you do have muscle weakness. But what comes with the muscle weakness? We have muscle pain as well. We have neck stiffness. So back in the day, back in the late 1950s, polio, we had an epidemic of polio, and the way people used to survive back then was through something we call, especially kids, we do call it the child virus, because it does really affect kids more than adults. But and it can be life-threatening. Because why? Because the paralysis can extend to the lungs, and like I said, bringing it back to the epidemic back in the 1950s, the way most children survived back then, especially in these severe cases where the paralysis do reach the muscles of the lungs, was through what we call the iron lung. At your own time, do your research. But treatment, we have no specific cure for polio, unfortunately for us, but so treatment really focuses on supportive care, palliative care. We try and control the pain. We do physiotherapy for the muscle weakness, and in severe cases, like I said, which touches the lungs, we do have respiratory support. That is why prevention is crucial to us. And the most effective way to prevent polio is vaccination, which trains your immune system to recognize and destroy the virus before it can cause damage or spread throughout your body and essentially spread into your central nervous system. Because of that, to prevent polio from ever having a resurgence, we do have a widespread vaccination program around the world. So therefore, polio has become very rare these days. At this point, I think most African countries have recorded 0 cases in new births and in basically the new generation of kids. But so the way to prevent polio is by maintaining a high vaccination coverage. So for me, the message is very simple. Polio is a serious disease, but it can be preventable through vaccination, sanitation, right? And public health awareness. We need to protect the future from this virus. And I am happy that we have taken steps, because at this point in time, polio cases are very rare. And I'm very grateful for that. So this has been our episode on polio. I'm sorry it had to be brief, but I am short for time. So I'll catch you next time on our Freak Health right here on Ifrikya FM.